MiniWarGaming rules you got wrong.
Welcome, Wargamers. Josh here to bring you this week's rules you got wrong for Age of Sigmar. I'm going to read over some comments that were left and go over some of the mistakes that were made in some of the battles. So we're going to start with Ogres versus Khorne. This was me playing against Cam. Episode 79. Great Chicken God. 4215. For the pile-in for Blood Warriors, you have to pile into the closest enemy model. So that one wasn't touching. Would have just moved straight to the Gargant. The other two that followed suit would have to go around that first one. I'm a little bit back and forth this one. I think I know what you're getting at. My interpretation after reading the FAQ is that when you pile in, you don't get to pile in directly toward. You have to pile into the closest model and end up being closer. So that first one that wasn't touching, the way I'm reading it, unless I'm getting something wrong, and if there is, point out in the FAQ exactly where it's stating otherwise, that he's piling in closer to get into base contact. It doesn't have to be directly straight towards. So that one, go back and watch the clip if you're not sure exactly what I'm talking about. So there was a Blood Warrior that piled more towards the back of the Gargant. He didn't start in base contact, he ended in base contact, so he did pile in closer, and then allowed a couple other models to get in. So if my interpretation of that is wrong, point it out in the FAQ, but yeah, I'm reading through the FAQ the other day, it says it's going to end up being closer than it. I didn't see anything about directly towards. Next up is Regnar665. When the Butcher plus Leadbelchers charge the Bloodthirster, you forgot to roll the War Tribe. 4 guys, 4+ to give mortal wounds. He had 2 left. Average says he dies, and the Butcher lives on with full HP. Yep. It was the first time I'd used the Ogre War Tribe, and I did not do a great job of remembering all of the mortal wounds going into charge. So yeah, that would have definitely helped, but that one's on me. Next up, we got Tristan Jones at 18 minutes. The Mighty Lord of Khorne's command ability lets him pick 3 Mortal Khorne units, not just 1. Then any of the 3 units as well as himself can roll 3 dice to charge and pick the highest 2. Didn't make a difference here, but it's good to keep in mind. You are totally correct on that one. I think we were just so entirely focused on that one unit wanting to get in that that was overlooked. Thorize? Great bat rep, Josh. Thank you. Except for a few missed unpredictable destruction rolls, the only thing I caught was that you could have gotten an additional artifact for having a War Scroll battalion in your army. See top of page 163 General's Handbook or page 159, 161, 165, depending on your allegiance. Keep up the good work. Yeah, totally. I missed that one. So in the future, if I'm going to be taking a War Scroll battalion, then I will remember that. Thank you for pointing that out. Next, we're going to jump down to Fire Slayers versus Death, or the Realms, episode 80. Rossi Magic. Josh, did you forget the Sling Shield mortal wounds on the charge? A unit of 30 one-shot my Tree Lord Ancient a few weeks ago. I dread to think that they could have done it to the Morgul or War Sphinx. Yes, you're talking about the Volkite Berserkers that have these Sling Shields. When they get to charge, basically you just roll 1 dice for every model in the unit after you complete a charge, and on 6s you cause mortal wounds. I completely and totally forgot about that. It's something that I'm going to hopefully remember in the future. But yeah, thank you so much for pointing that out. And last comment we have from Austin87. Necrosphinx did run no charging possible. It does have a special rule that states that it must charge if it is within range, and that is, it says right in the rule there, even if it ran. So running and charging is totally a thing. He didn't have the option to not try to charge. That's it for the rules you got wrong this week for Age of Sigmar. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks so much for leaving the comments. I've said it a couple different times. If you ever want to get a hold of me directly as well, Josh at MiniWarGaming.com. If you want to either discuss something or the rule you got wrong might be a little bit wordy to go into the comments section, feel free to get a hold of me. Other than that, guys, thanks for tuning in, and happy wargaming.